Hi, welcome back. So, since we couldn't conclude all the questions in the first podcast, we are continuing this into the second part of this podcast. So, the questions keep flowing. I hope the Kumar is ready to answer.
Yeah, you promised me 5 questions and now it's been 5 hours.
Yes. We discussed on the cancer topic and how it can be predict. It can predict, the test can predict the future and help the patients. Do you think it's the same process for diabetic as well?
Oh yeah, well, of course. We've uh, we just finished a trial, published a paper on diabetes, where we brought the HbA1c down just by doing the microbiome test and giving the right kind of food recommendations. And I think globally also there's slowly a signature that's coming out for the in the microbiome for diabetes. So you know the set of microorganisms which can actually cause or accelerate type 2 diabetes.
So you can basically prevent
Correct.
diabetic, but is there a way we are closer to curing one?
Type 2 diabetes, yes. I think, I mean, even now there are a lot of cases where it's completely reversed. So that can happen. Type 1 diabetes, I am not very sure. With the, I mean, there I think a little bit of other kinds of treatments are needed because the insulin producing cells are itself not there, right? So that has to be regenerated or it needs to come back for that to be cured. So
What age do you recommend to get the test done for diabetic to foresee the future if I might or if you have a possibility of getting one?
it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on your uh, genetics, as in if your family history when they started having diabetes. But I would say, I mean, a microbiome test should be done as early as you can. Do it once a year. Do start as early as you can.
Do you have a age restriction on this thing, or from the baby anyone can get done?
Ideally, 8 or 10 years and above. Now that's when the microbiome is more or less established, and it changes. It changes over 3 to 6 months time. Before that, it changes, very frequently. So even if you look at it, you might not be able to correct it very quickly. So 8 to 10, from that age onwards, you can start getting it tested.
You mentioned microbiome science changes.
The microbiome is changing.
Microbiome is changing. Okay. So, but the composition also changes, and microbiome science also is evolving also, right?
Yes.
Rapidly. And how do you ensure the test results gonna be valid or stay clinical results like stay valid, scientifically valid?
I'll give you a good example. In 2016-17, when we first came out of the report in 2018, there was something called as bacteroidetes versus firmicutes ratio. Okay.
Okay, please put that into his form.
So these are two phylums. What I say phylums is two ethnicities within bacteria. Okay. And their ratio was the golden standard in microbiome. So you just look at that ratio and you think that is
Healthy or not?
you decide whether a person is healthy or not. Now that ratio is totally being debunked. Okay. And there are so many other factors that are coming in. So even the report is constantly evolving to make it more as scientifically accurate as uh, knowledge known on today. So that is what is happening. So as even as we're talking right now, a new version of the report is on almost getting launched or is launched, where a lot more of the factors have come in, and the way to calculate a few more things have become a far more nuanced.
As a BugSpeak company, how are you tackling that particular process? Because let's say you've got the test for 3 6 months and suddenly, like as you mentioned, the one of the two ratio has been debugged. So what is your next process? What is the next stage? How do you take it forward from there?
So as a company, our job is to look at literature on a constant basis. So there are about close to about 300 to 500 articles that have been published every month, or research articles that have been published every month. To go through all of that and to start looking at, what are the changes that are happening, what is the new science saying, and slowly incorporate that into the report. For an individual, your microorganisms would change over a period of 3 to 6 months time, and probably drastically maybe over a year's time. So it's important to get yourself tested routinely. Um, Unfortunately, it's your finances which will determine how routinely you can get it tested, but as routinely as you possibly can.
So the insurance on that track you make it as fast as possible so that people can afford, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
or India becoming a richer country soon.
hope, just hope. You mentioned and this particular articles reading and everything. This shows that your team, research and development team, has to be stronger, right?
Yeah.
So more stronger than any other companies out there, like in product based company or any kind of company. So what kind of percentage of staff do you keep it for the R&D? Because it's as equally important to the testing as your R&D, I see, like.
Yeah, I mean, early on it was almost 80-20. 80% of the workforce was doing the R&D and 20% was executing it. Now it's become more 60-40. We still have 60% doing R&D. We're still pouring all the money that we earn, we pour it back into R&D as much as possible. So, that kind of thing is happening. So we constantly, because this is a science we know which is going to evolve uh, constantly over time, and we need to be abreast of all the new science that's out there.
That's a still major chunk of your staff on R&D, right? Like 60% of it. I'm not sure any other companies has those kind of ratios, apart from the medical products, I'm assuming.
And within, apart from the biotech companies, so a lot of the biotech, which is why biotech is very, very hard to do, because you constantly, what is believed today need not be true tomorrow. And uh, which is why every time I'm making a statement, I'm putting a star mark out of that this is knowledge that I know today, and knowledge that I understand today.
Subject to change.
Yeah, it is evolving.
Yeah, evolving. Good. So evolving also brings me back to it's very individualistic, right? The report and everything, the gut microbiome. You also have a dietitian in your team who helps people understand the report and suggest or recommend process. What is the situation on that? Like, how do people do they get it for free? Is it included in the package?
It's included in the package. I mean, no point, like I said, no point telling you what's wrong with you without telling you a way to way to correct it. If the test is taken directly by us, then it's our job to tell you what needs to be done to correct it. And our capability is through nutrition. So that's why you have a nutritionist on board, and who will take you through the 3-month process of rebalancing the gut.
So for 3 months, do you do test again, or how does it work?
Some people come and do a repeat test in 3 to 6 months time. Some people don't. They symptomatically start feeling better, and hence they don't want to do the test. Some people are curious, even though they're feeling better, they want to know what has changed and how much more they can improve. Once you start understanding this, you're constantly wanting to know this and know what's going on in your body, and wanting to improve it.
So basically, you give 3 months plan for them
Yes.
to have different kind of diverse food and everything.
Yes.
Related to that.
Correct.
We discussed on mental health also has implications through gut microbiome, and how, like, what are the research gone through? Got any results on that, and how far away or how close we are to improving mental health regarding this? Because in a couple of podcasts you mentioned Alzheimer's and also any other kind of
Autism, Parkinson's,
exactly.
dementia, a lot of that. So where the science has progressed is there's definitely a correlation between the gut microbiome and development of all these diseases. What we still need to figure out is the causation. I mean, how exactly it causes this. I think that's where the science is right now. But I'll take autism as an example. I mean, through a few hospitals, we do close to about 500 samples of autism every month. And the feedback that we're getting is there are a lot of behavioral changes that the doctors are seeing with kids on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, behavioral change is happening for the better. The disease cannot be completely cured through microbiome changes, but there's definitely symptom improvements. Social behavior becomes much better. So these are the kind of feedback that we're getting.
Certain, let's take a autistic as an example. There are a lot of kids. It, it's a spectrum, right? Like it takes from manageable, still autism which is manageable, to the extreme rare case where it's a child is going through a lot, and it's unable to uh, interact with parents or doctors, and it's very hardly difficult to manage, right? Like, I don't want to be insensitive, but it's just it we as a certain human like have a process to deal with other people, but they have a different kind of situation. So when you mentioned that symptoms help, is what you're saying, that that particular symptoms of aggressive behavior or this thing goes down, is that?
I don't know about the aggressive behavior, but it is about the social interaction is definitely improving. From having no minimal or no interaction, that interaction with other human beings has increased. So that is the feedback that we're getting. Um, does it happen to kids in across the spectrum? Is a question mark. I don't have the since we don't get all the patient history and the improvements. I don't know that part of it, but the general feedback that we're getting is it is helping the patients.
So since you don't, I don't want to put it in a situation where it's scientifically question. It's just a personal opinion on you. What do you think, or where you're progressing for this mental health? Because when I was in other country, I see this health being majorly concentrated on, and they're helping a lot, and there is a lot of process or structure to help them out. And do you think this in future, when we as we grow and have more information, do you think we'll be able to help prevent or to have a risk-free this thing during the pregnancy itself? How does that work?
I mean, not during pregnancy, but I don't know about that. I mean, that's and autism is a very tough thing to comment on because it's such a wide range of things. But when it comes to mental health, depression, Parkinson's, dementia, all of that, we do see the gut microbiome playing a huge role. And by looking at the gut, we'll be able to make some changes and make reverse a lot of the conditions. Nothing Parkinson's, but at least we're seeing cases in depression being reversed just by taking care of the gut.
Before going to Alzheimer's, we also have. Do you have any products that helps the kids for this thing, or it's an individualistic approach?
A lot of it is individualistic, but what we've done is we've also looked at the data and we've come up with a probiotic blend for kids. And especially if we see any kind of milestone delay, we think that these probiotics could be helpful.
Alzheimer's is kind of growing. I'm assuming there's a lot of test which predicts that you're prone to this disease. Like you might get it. Like for let's say our Thor was also kind of diagnosed with that. That he might get Alzheimer's very soon, so that he started spending more time with their kids. Is there a product or a test for in your company that helps like to either like reduce the risk of it or to help?
So, like I said, there's definitely a connection. The gut-brain axis is a very strong axis, and it's a bidirectional axis. What I mean by that is, if the gut is bad, the brain gets affected, and if the brain is bad, it affects the gut. Okay, so it's a bidirectional axis that way. By rectifying the gut, you're actually saving the brain-related problems a lot. Okay, it does not mean that the brain will still not get affected, but at least you're bringing the chances down.
You're giving a chance like to improve healthy way
Yes.
so that it can fight its own battle.
Correct.
You also mentioned depression. So there's a lot of people with the depression are prone to substance abuse, right? So that impacts the gut health, which is again destroying the mental health. It's kind of a circle just happening. So you would you say that that would help to break the cycle a little bit?
Yes, that would help break the cycle. I mean, there was a doctor in Kerala, in one of the rare cases, if I remember right, um, through a process called as fecal transplant, changed the microbiome of a severely alcohol addicted patient and kind of reversed the addiction.
Complete reverse. Okay.
Complete reverse the addiction. I don't remember the paper offhand, but I remember reading about it. But there's definitely been anecdotal evidence that you know, you can by changing the gut, you'll be able to help people overcome any kind of addiction.
Not necessarily it's just food, or is it supplement? When you mention about this gut health, so what are you recommending? Is it like the food dietitian plan, or is it just the supplements, the products?
Both have a role to play. What so I we were initially against any kind of supplementation, but then we kind of realized there are two things that the supplements do. One, it gives you an initial boost. Okay. Food always takes time. I mean, it'll take few weeks before food can start acting and making changes in your gut. But supplementation is a little more quick. It's a shot that'll help.
Start it.
It's like a kickstart that does it. Secondly, no matter what anyone tells us, it's very difficult for us to follow a diet. All right, or to change our food patterns. Okay, it's difficult to do it, and this is where supplementation also it just makes the transition easier, gives you a kickstart as well as something easy to take to stop that. Food is where the long-term sustainable changes can be made.
This is a kind of personal question. When you mention food, it's not necessarily just the vegetarian or the vegetables or the grains as thing. It can be meat as well. But there are few studies, I'm assuming, like there's a lot of organisms come with the meat, right? And do you think that would affect a lot of your gut health? Because it's like it's another living, like an animal, right? Like we are also considered animals. So it's just, that's from my perspective.
Okay, the organisms can come through any food, and in India we very rarely eat uncooked food. If you look at it, very rarely do we eat uncooked food. It's always cooked, and in the cooking process, most of the organisms are killed. So we don't have to worry about contamination and pathogens entering that way, as long as it's cooked food. Some of the studies done outside where raw meat, uh, raw, even salads where it's just raw vegetables and there's no seasoning or processing to it, that's where there's slight chances of those kind of pathogens happening. There's a very thin line between contamination, contamination versus trying to get a diverse microbiome. You overdo any one, then it's becoming a problem.
It's very sensitive in that way. So it's a good point you mentioned. Once you cook, there's a lot of, most of the organisms which is already present in that
In that ecosystem,
ecosystem dies. So that only the nutrition part of that
correct.
food is being processed by our organisms. So once the profiling is done, no matter what profiling you're getting it done, so the dietitian or the doctors who are helping the patient is included with its diet, not just the diet, like lifestyle and exercises. Are those included in that as well, or do the doctors is a different?
So people who are going to a doctor or the test that comes to us through a doctor referral is, I mean, they're far more clinical in nature, right? And the doctor has to look at multiple reports before he or she can make a recommendation. So for those kind of patients, it's just a report that's going with all the nutritional guidelines and all of that. But it's the doctor who has to sign off on what needs to be done for the patient. Maybe the patient is compromised, and at that point of time, probiotics is probably the last thing you're supposed to give. I don't know. I mean, this is a decision a doctor has to take.
So you provide two different or distinctive kind of reports?
No, it's the same report, but the doctor chooses what information he wants to take out of the report, and combining other kind of medical reports, they will make a decision on what needs to be done.
One of the reports which I've seen on your website has more pictorial diagrams of food and grains or what
Yeah.
kind of this thing, and what has been already been in the body, and what food has to be taken development. Is the same report you
Yes.
given to the doctors as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a choice of the doctor to say whether follow this or,
They recommend their own.
recommend their own or follow this with a condition. It's left to the doctor's judgment.
Okay. But this particular report is developed in house
Yes.
from your staff,
Yes.
Rohini's or
Yes.
This brings me to the question where seems like your lot of customers are outsourced, right? Like, I mean, it's not direct customers you're
Yeah.
having, it's the other doctors or other research purposes are outsourcing to you to test there and give the
Yes.
reports. What's the percentage there? How, like, is that the major one, or your direct customers are the?
That is the major one. I mean, it's through the referrals that we get a lot more samples than people coming directly to us.
So, in the research purpose, like how many of the research or different kind of branches you have, like you're catering it to, like the research when you're analyzing?
Different kinds of research projects, and we get very weird kind of research projects. I mean, some of the recent ones that we can do, that I can mention about, is we're looking for signatures of certain kind of cancers. So it's cancer patients, and we're trying to see what are the microbiome changes that are there in a cancer patient. There was another research project that we did for a public listed company. They were launching a new biscuit with a particular type of prebiotic. So they wanted to see whether people who eat this kind of biscuit, I think the final format was biscuit. I forget what it was, but it was an easy biscuit like cookie like consumable. They wanted to see the change in the patient. The weirdest request analysis that we've got is a farmer, I mean, not in India, outside India, wanting to look at the gut of the spider to see why it is eating a particular type of honeybee. The weirdest project that we have gotten to.
But that's very interesting.
It's very interesting. I mean, you get. I'm not in the liberty to share a lot of details about that project, but that was. I mean, it was like, oh, there are these kind of projects also that you can do.
So it's not just humans, it's also another animal, because when I talked about meat, and so the other animals also have the ecosystem of
Yes.
microbes going on.
Yeah, and I mean, everything has microbes in it.
Because we as humans love our pets.
Children who tend to grow up with dogs at home have a much more diverse gut microbiome than children without pets at home. That's one study that's come out.
It's just pets or it's just dogs?
In that study, it was dogs,
Okay.
but I'm assuming pets in general, you tend to have a lot more microorganisms in the house. There's one study which said bearded men tend to have a lot better diversity in the gut.
Bearded men.
With all the muck that we have in our beard.
Personal opinion because you have the thick beard.
No, there was a study which actually said that, but so yeah.
The pet is quite interesting for me because certain household are they're kind of against having pets, especially dogs or cats. Cats, I think, has a higher number because of their hair or the bacteria which they bring into the house. It's very interesting that you mentioned that having a pet would give me more diverse microbes in my body, and it's kind of good, right? It's certain because it's helping me digest or have any kind of
Yeah, but like I also mentioned, it's a thin line, right? I mean, you don't know when it is problematic. So a lot of people are allergic to the pet hair, all right, and you're going to sneeze and you're going to develop flu and cough and all kinds of problems with it. So it's a very very thin line between getting an infection versus trying to improve your diversity. So it depends on every person's condition and environment.
the hypoallergenic one was good then.
Yeah.
This is very cultural question.
Huh.
cow, right? So cow has a lot of significance in our household in this part of the world, yeah, countries. Um, there's a lot of words or the explanation I used to get in the home that if you have a cow and there's diseases are less, and they're more healthier uh, if you have like native cows, that would help. You think that microbes also helps in us way in that, or like it's just
I mean, theoretically, it sounds right.
okay.
It sounds like there's a lot of diversity coming through that, but I don't know if scientifically anybody's done a study to actually prove this.
Will you be doing it?
I mean, and a lot of students wanting to do projects. I mean, this is something that I would encourage you to do.
So you are open to students coming in and us offering their help to do research?
Yeah.
Would you be providing any kind of equipment for them, or would it be stipend, and how does that work?
Okay, we're still a startup trying to somehow manage finances, so stipends out of the question. But we do help students as much as possible to do, some kind of meaningful research in the microbiome field.
Even testing costs a lot, right? Like a testing is not that cheap. So in a way, you are still helping them with
Yeah.
supporting with the
With the testing piece of it.
equipment, so they can still do the research and get this thing done. That's a really good way to progress, to get the more information data and for them to useful for them as for the research purpose.
Correct. From in my head, India should be number one microbiome knowledge factory in the world. Okay, and in 10 years or 15 years time, if we can enable the ecosystem to achieve that, I'd be very, very happy.
You think we are progressing in that path, or are we deviating from there?
Oh, but we're not one of the richer countries where we can pump in many dollars to do research in this area. But I mean, like in most other fields, we have very smart people. If we can enable them somehow, meaningful research will come out of India.
We are leading into the path where the financial aspect is monitoring in this, right? Any kind of investors would invest little more easily if they have more knowledge or it's already widespread. Since this particular company is growing and you are one of the first in Asia to do that, in future, the investors, you think they're a little more curious on this aspect or this particular topic, because it's already showing so many companies that they're with your test results, they're able to create more prebiotic and probiotic products on it.
Okay, let's put it this way: the investment ecosystem, the VC ecosystem, poster boys and poster companies when it came to other domains. E-commerce had Flipkart. Now you're saying quick commerce. You're saying a lot of the companies getting the poster child is up there.
Yeah.
Okay, deep tech. There's no poster child as yet. I mean, I'm not even talking biotech. I'm just talking deep tech in general. We've never seen companies doing very, very good things of that. But those are happening. I mean, you have a lot of space companies getting funded now. There's a lot of meaningful money going into all of this. As the ecosystem improves, the ability for investors to invest in deep tech companies and wait for a longer cycle for returns will also come in. And with that, the want to get into biotech will also happen. So it's not like the nobody wanted to fund a biotech company. It was just that the opportunity elsewhere was so much more in the last few years. I mean, you could fund the 10th delivery company and still make a lot of money on it. And now that is getting matured, you will see a lot more of the investments coming into the deep tech space.
Would the investment comes mostly for the research, or because most of the investors, let's say if I was a VC, and for me, I would look at the end results and how much money I am getting out of it, right? Be it research, biotech, or product based, this thing. At the end goal, mine is like how much money do I make?
And at how long will that take?
Yeah. So you have certain products. We have so many products coming in, like not just the particular gut-based this thing. You have other products. Let's discuss on that on further. But you have a lot of products on it. The investors, if they're seeking to invest on your company, this is just an example. It's not per se like BugSpeaks. Do you think they allocate more on the research, or they're like purely like, no, I want to invest more on the product space so that you have all the, we already have the research. Let's invest more on the product.
It depends the kind of fund it is, right? I mean, what's the life cycle of that fund? How soon are they looking at the returns? Is it a 5-year cycle, 7-year cycle, 12-year cycle? I mean, the different kind of fund stages that the funds are at, and based on that, they would take the bet. And it also depends on whether research is going to enable a product which is going to give
Growth.
growth, a significant higher growth versus a product that you can get out right now. I mean, I hear there are a lot of probiotic companies that are coming out, probiotic brands that are going to come out because there's no IP behind probiotics. I mean, you can't file for a patent. There's no IP behind probiotics. Anybody can come up with a probiotic concoction for. I mean, you can do your research and you can do your studies and say this is my probiotic concoction that I think will make sense, and you can come out with a brand for it. And there are many manufacturers which can easily do that. So that's one way of it. Then we're talking about 1,500 organisms, and probiotics are only 32. Okay, you can come up with the 33rd probiotic, which is not yet classified as a probiotic, but go through the struggle of doing a clinical trial and proving it, and then coming out into the market. That could take a few years, but then you have ownership of that when it comes out. So it all depends on what is it that you're trying to achieve, and as a company, and as a fund, what is it that they want to achieve with the money that they want to invest.
So most of the probiotic companies have their own research, and is it like a patented one, or like anyone can?
Anyone, and with respect to probiotics are live microorganisms, and you can't patent a live microorganism, so there's no patent behind it. And you can read a few papers, make your own conclusion, and come up with a probiotic product. You can go a step further and do a study saying that this is my probiotic combination and I see that it's improving outcomes, and come up with a product.
Starting from kombucha
Uh,
to the probiotic, mention one of your product which is probiotic.
Regibiome Indus.
Indus, right? From kombucha to Indus, there is from like a wide this thing. Kombucha is kind of a
FMCG.
natural.
Yeah, it's an FMCG product. It's a daily drink that you can have. You can replace your Coke and Pepsi with it, and it'll do you. I mean, tastes good, and it's healthy.
So my question was like from kombucha to Indus, what is the helpful benefits you see of the products? Because for kombucha, we call it if you made it in home, you call it ganji also, right? So from there to the Indus, like what is the information you would like to provide for the customer? Like, what's the difference?
Though, okay, it's two very, very different kinds of things, right? I mean, what you can make at home or a kombucha is a daily thing that you can have, or you can have multiple times a day, and it won't affect you badly. It'll also improve your health a lot. A supplement like Regibiome Indus is concentrated specific type of probiotics. Okay, in Indus there are only 7 probiotics because in our data we saw these 7 probiotics missing all the time. Okay, so it's a specific type of probiotic that you're having. With kombucha, it's all kinds of microorganisms. It need not be a probiotic, so it could be other kinds of microorganisms that are there. So it's just a natural fermented drink.
There's a lot of confusion between a prebiotic and a probiotic.
Probiotic is the microorganisms, the bacteria. Prebiotic is food for the bacteria.
So when you put the probiotic in your body, let's say Indus, so it needs food. So that is where you recommend certain kind of food for the prebiotic so that people.
Yeah. So what we have in Indus is also prebiotic in it. So at least there's a little bit of food for it when it goes inside to sustain for some time.
Okay. Let's discuss a little more about products you have in hand right now. So we discussed on the gut microchemistry kit. Is that how we call it?
Gut microbiome kit.
Gut microbiome kit. You have vaginal microbiome kit. You have skin microbiome kit. These three are testing ones. Do you have any other testing? Oral one. It's already out there.
No, it'll we have given it to partners. So other companies to do the testing and all of that.
Preliminary.
Yes, it's in that phase right now. We've done multiple studies on it before, but right now it's with partners going through it, and they're going through the reports and saying whether it's working for their patients or not. We'll release it to the consumers in the next few weeks.
A few weeks. Oh,
Few weeks to a few months.
Okay. And these are the only 4 testing kits you have.
Yes.
You have any further testing kits in pipeline?
Lots more in pipeline. We want to test the AC and see what are the microorganisms that's present in your inbuilt environment.
So you clean the AC first and then test it. How does it work?
No, what I mean was you take a swab of the AC or you take a swab of a patch of your wall to see what are the microorganisms that are there. And from there, I mean, I can tell you whether it's good or bad, but right now I don't have a solution to say what you need to do to change it. So that's what we're working on. So from a testing point of view, there are a few products that are going to come out like this.
This is the environment for your house.
So it can be a house, it could be your office, it could be a hospital room, could be any such inbuilt environment.
Well, very interesting because there's a lot of allergy prone patients or the certain age after like 50, 60, they have like, for example, asthma is there or any kind of allergy which is like suddenly like they have a sensation or the itching kind of thing. So do you think this would help, this particular kit for that?
In some cases it might, because in Bangalore especially you will see a lot of damp walls and fungus on the damp wall, and that is actually causing the allergy and all of that. So these are some things that we are testing for.
Okay.
Once we test it and tell you that you have a damp wall, what do you have to do next is what we are now working on.
So these are all the test kits you have.
Yes.
Other products, let's say, one, I'm assuming it's the probiotic.
It's a probiotic. So initially we didn't want to get into supplementation too much, but then we realized there is a use case for supplements, the probiotics, and 9 out of the 10 customers we were talking to, they were asking us for probiotics for supplements. So initially we were looking at Amazon, looking at what is available out there and curating that information and giving. Then we looked at the data and we came out with our first product called Microbiome Indus. So this is based on Indian data.
Indus Valley.
Indus Valley. So based on Indian data, there were 7 probiotics that were missing consistently across 80-90% of certain kind of data. So we put that into a pill and we are selling the Indus. Then we have an Indus Plus product, which is 18 probiotics that we think are good that people can take. The other one that we have launched is with the test. So once the test is done, we get personalized probiotics. So we personalize it based on the organisms that are missing in your gut, and based on that we have a pill.
So you have like stock of certain probiotic organism with you. So depending on my report, you concoction it and then.
Yeah, there are 31 probiotics that FSSAI in India allows you to sell as a probiotic.
Okay.
So out of that 31, which are the ones missing in you, we put that into a pill and we give it. Then we have Probio Kids. So based on the kids data, we've come up with a.
What's the age limit for this?
If I remember right, I think it's between 5 to 8 or 5 to 10. I think it's around that.
So is this similar to the energy kind of drinks which kids are? I don't want to mention names, but we are grown up with certain kind of drinks, right?
No. This is more for the gut health and more specifically targeting probiotics for
Okay.
that.
So can they consume it daily?
They can consume it daily. Okay. Then we've looked at the cream. We've looked at we have a probiotic lysate cream. It's a moisturizer that we have, and very nervous when we came out with the product. We were getting excellent feedback for it, and
So this cream is for anybody gender?
All gender, anybody to use. Just helps your facial skin.
So what is the benefits of it? Like,
it just helps the skin better. Your tightness, I think, gets better. Your skin sagging, all that improves. There's in terms of prone to acne, I think is coming down. I don't think there's any visible difference in spots, but I think it is also improving.
So this is based on the microbes.
But this is based on the microbes.
So you're adding microbes to the
There's something called as a probiotic lysate, which we add to it, and along with that certain ingredients that
ecosystem on the face is a little more diverse than.
I won't say diverse. So this is where there's a difference between the gut and the skin is better. The ecosystem is better.
Okay. So what are the other products? Is that
Then we've come out with 50 plus for men and women.
50 plus has an age. Okay.
Men and women, gut health support, probiotics plus other kinds of vitamins and minerals in it.
Oh, so this is not just the probiotics; it has vitamins and minerals as well.
Yeah.
How many types of probiotics have you added in this? Because in this plus you said 18.
In this plus is 18. This one is lesser. I mean, very curated for 50 plus. So it'll be slightly lesser than that.
But
I don't remember the number, but I think it'll be in single digits.
Okay. So you have skin product, probiotic one. I have 50, 60.
And we have skin one cream. The sunscreen is going to come out soon.
Oh, you're creating sunscreen also, nice.
Yes, that's going to come out soon. We're also going to come out with personalized skincare based on the test. Trying to do some skincare, so we're still in R&D in that, but we're going to come out with that. Then all the others are gut related products, which are mostly probiotic and prebiotic in nature.
So when you say personalized skincare cream, so that depends on the skin test if I do, and then okay, cool, that works. Okay, let's go to. Okay, let's move on to a little more scientific questions. We have basically covered the basic questions which I had in mind most of the time, but little more scientific questions if anyone is interested in that. So there's two different testing, right? Like it's called. We mentioned RNR.
16S rRNA.
Exactly. So 16S and rRNA has two different.
No. There are two different kinds of testing. One is called 16S rRNA. Okay. And this is where the microbiome actually started off with this kind of testing.
Okay.
And the other one is called shotgun metagenomics, which is what we do. Okay. 16S rRNA is looking at bacterial species alone. So 16S is a I won't get into too much technicalities, but it's a signature of a certain kind of bacteria. Okay. So you are identifying bacteria species over there. With shotgun metagenomics, you're looking at all the microorganisms that are there, but you're also going down to the strain level and not necessarily the species level.
Okay.
So that is the difference between these two testing.
So your testing is covering all of them.
Yes.
It's not just particular
Kind of
testing.
Yes.
So this helps only in the health and the universe, which is ecosystem, which is inside your health, not specific to the COVID related stuff, which is different testing altogether.
No, but when you're doing COVID, you're looking for one single microbe, in this case a virus. And that process is similar, but you're isolating just one DNA.
So
one RNA.
just to put it in a different perspective analogy, so when we talk about this COVID testing, I forgot the name. What is the type of testing you mentioned?
You're testing for that organism.
So it's like looking through a telescope, like with a very narrow this thing. But what you do is kind of wider perspective, just looking with the naked eye that you're covering all of them, and you get to pick whatever is there and then get information on it. This is a lot of scientific information for us to consume in a daily human normal this thing, right? Even with the normal medical test, when we look at it, it's kind of very difficult to understand. How do you put this information into a normal consumer? Like, how can they rectify it? In just the report, if we can just mention or specify how, because it's a complex genomics, like the data sequencing you're doing it. So how do I understand as a normal consumer?
I think that is the toughest part of our job. I mean, it's to make it into a language that everybody understands, but at the same time give all the information possible. I mean, who are we to say that you're not eligible to read this information and hence we're not giving it? We want to give all the information back to the patient, but put it in terms that everybody understands. For example, we've created a score called as rich index in the report.
Rich index.
Index. Okay. In the report, it's called rich index. It's a simple number which will tell you whether your gut is good or bad. Okay. A lot of people just want to look at that number, understand where they stand, and they don't want to go through the rest of the report. Okay. But the amount of science that's gone behind to create that one number has been many years of
Research and hard work.
research, hard work, constant improvement. Um, so and that's what we have filed a patent also around
So the process of it.
of that score of that score. But to the end consumer, it's a number that they're getting, and they're getting to know whether it's good or bad.
This just sorry to cut you off. So just to give an understanding this thing. So let's say my BP should be from this number to this number. That's the good BP. It's that kind of number you're mentioning.
Yeah, that's something that we're trying to get into the microbiome ecosystem. We're trying to see whether we can come with a nomenclature that where you're saying from this number to now, this number means your gut is in a good health or a bad health.
That is the patented.
So that is the patent one that we have. But then we were also working closely with designers to make the report a lot more appealing to people to want to read further and further. They shouldn't be just happy with a number and then say, this is a number. What is my diet chart? What are the supplements I need to make? But make it so interesting that they want to read and understand their own body. Because if they understand their own body, they will take care of their body, and then the chance of them falling ill will be lesser. And that's the goal, right? I mean, and unless you want to do it, you're not going to take care of your entire body. So that is the endeavor. So from wanting to make the report better and better, but at the same time, all the information needs to be there for anybody wanting to look at it.
Good. Just quick glance which I did on the report was like it has a lot of certain graphic element to it as well, because it's just not names and numbers to it, so it is visually pleasing as well. So I'm assuming that has to do with that too.
Correct. Otherwise, you won't even go to that page, right? If I don't put some graphics. Secondly, it's complicated science. You have to understand that. And just because we've read it for 10 years and we use a word called as shotgun metagenomics, it makes no sense. I mean, apart from say 100 people in this country, it makes no sense to the rest of the population. So
And you say shotgun metagenomics, I feel like the metagenomics is in front of the car. The first, okay, cool. So do you have any long-term research approach going in the background for, because like any health outcomes, right? Like we have a longer-term plan for you. Like have you planned any research on that?
So we need to make this a diagnostic report. And that's been over the last 7-8 years. That's been the endeavor, right? So it's a slow but steady process that's happening, and the end goal is that to make this into a proper diagnostic report.
Nice. But is there a specific disease or a field which you're working on for the longer terms? Because it's not just the gut health, because in just gut health, you have IBIS, we have diabetic, we have cancer, and most of the related issues. You have any long-term plans for any particular kind of disease you're planning on, or it's secreted?
It's not secretive. Right now, the gut is correlated with all these diseases. Okay, if I can solve for the gut, then I'm solving for all these diseases. So that is what and there is no way you can't solve for the gut only for a certain disease and not for another one. So that is what we're trying to achieve.
This question seems a little bit hard for me to ask, so let me read it out for you. How do you foster innovation within a team working at the intersection of biology, tech, and healthcare?
Have you seen the graying in my? So there's logistics, there's lab, there's computer science, there is social media, there's biological science, all of that. So it's fun trying to work with all of them and trying to bring all of them to the center to focus on something that we're building. And without any of this, the product won't work. And like we have diversity in the gut, we need to have diversity in the team to make this work, and that's the fun. That's the fun part of it. I mean, it's not always easy. It's not. I won't say that it's not frustrating, but at the end of the day, the results are good.
That's a cool way to put it, because you need the diverse in your workplace too. I see.
I'll give you an example. I mean, this is something that I didn't realize. The initial team that was making the food recommendation, in hindsight, we kind of realized they were all vegetarians. Okay, and for them, chicken was chicken. There was no difference between leg versus breast versus wings or anything like that. And they never thought that this would make a difference in nutritional subnutrients that are there, or nutritional values and all of that. And
Only difference most people would know is like there's fat content and there's mostly protein content.
correct. And even that, for a normal regular vegetarian might not even think in that direction. So that's, those are the small things that you need to be a little mindful of and try and bring in. And with the diversity in functional roles that are there, we try and involve them in all the things that are happening. I mean, I keep telling the people working in the logistics team, I mean, the job is to get the kit and get the kit back, but they need to know what is happening in the test. And they need to understand the report itself, because their ideas and their inputs could be far more valuable than somebody having a PhD in microbiology.
Because they're working closely to the ground level with the interacting with the customer.
You never know what idea somebody might get.
You have research and development team and the people who are working dissecting the DNA of the microbes, and you have the team for social networking sites. And is there any other team which is working constantly? Logistic team, of course. Any other team which you have which is needs little more concentration from your side?
Computational, right? I mean, it's the right now there's an explosion in machine learning algorithms that are there. I mean, we all have hundreds of ideas that we want to test, and part of R&D, but this is part of computational R&D that we need to do. The other challenge that we have is now, once the data comes from the lab, for it to generate the report is per report will take about 20-25 minutes. Is there a way computationally we can bring it down to a few seconds?
Okay.
The
recommendations
the validation or all of that is human involvement. That can take time, but the processing of the data and to generate the report, that should be in a few seconds. So, these are the different kinds of teams. And then there's a nutrition team which is going to, sadly, we're trying to decipher Moroccan diet, and because we're going to all these countries, right? So
yeah, it's specific food related to that.
yeah, food. The food that's available over there could be very different, or the names of the food could be very different to what we get over here. So
We whenever look at in that way, there actually, for me personally, it is very interesting question, because when we go out of the other this country and you're staying there, their vegetables, the local native vegetables is quite different. You might not get a Karela or like a bitter gourd like this thing there, right? You might go to the same store which is imported and it's might not be fresh. I don't know. The diverse might not be there. So do you think a new implementation of food, which is our body is not aware of it, like it has no clue on what it is, but can still integrate that to our body and it's still gonna help me?
yeah, it is. I mean, that's the beauty of the microorganisms and the diversity that you can build. As long as there's enough diversity, it will help in increasing that diversity. And the food part is very interesting. I mean, we have a section where we mention milk, all right, and one of the Middle Eastern countries, one of the partners called up and said, when you say milk, are you talking about camel milk, or are you talking about buffalo milk, or are you talking about cow milk? And we were like, oh, okay. So yeah, there's cultural nuances that needs to go into this.
Yeah. So the food which they consume, and it's how do I say that it's built up from different lack of a word, stuff. It's built with a lot of different structure is different, right?
Yes.
But you sense any similarities with all these people with food, the microbes, because in one of the questions you mentioned that it's like the globally you want to like if it's a single problem you want to create a solution for all of these gut health microbiome. But if the food consumption is different from each region and their lifestyle is very different from each region, how do you solve that in one or like easier way?
That's why 40% of our workforce is still in R&D, and we've been constant R&D because you're not talking about food alone, right? You're talking about geography, you're talking about climate, you're talking about the way the food is. Um, I'll tell you why I'm saying all of this. A person running, jogging at home on a treadmill versus a person running in a park like Lal Bagh every day, the microbiome is very different. Okay, so the gut microbiome, there's
Because they're inhaling a lot of
for whatever varied reasons, it is different. So all of this matters. So to get all of this and to find a solution for somebody somebody in a specific geography under a specific health condition is important.
it's challenging.
It's a challenge, but this is a challenge that we want to overcome
Nice.
and not shy away from.
Last two questions to end the podcast. One, in a global scale, there's a lot of research happening, right? Like it's a lot of medical prospects. Like it's not just gut, but when I say gut, there's so many branches which explores.
Yeah.
Is there any collaboration happening with you and the other companies or other research institution which benefit people? And is there any interesting story which is coming?
No, all the time, right? I mean, we're collaborating with researchers, trying, helping them understand the data better. You said interesting. There was one lung cancer study. Okay, so the problem that was thrown at us was it is a sample from the lung, but when you're taking the sample out, it is touching the skin and it's coming out. So they want us to remove the skin microbiome from the lung microbiome and detect and look at only the lung microbiome. And we're scratching our heads. How do you do that? So there's interesting collaborations like this happening, especially with academic institutes to make them understand the microbiome better. So nothing is a easy task. Everything is a very complicated task, and but it's also fun. I mean, we recently got a sample. In the beginning of the project, it was supposed to be soil sample. Only after we started analyzing the samples, did we get to know that this is a deep sea soil sample. And
You have a lot of other organisms which is running in the.
I mean, I don't even know what to expect out of this data. So it was nice. But these are the kind of different projects that we do and kind of collaborations that we do that get us these projects.
It's amazing to see the universe or the microbes which is in a different conditions, right? In just this world we have our inside body balance, deep sea one, in the air, it's like the AC. There's so many different kind of bacteria. It's really interesting and it's amazing that you are enjoying your work, because once you start enjoying, I think you get to have more questions in your brain to ask why this, why that. So that's lovely to hear.
Yeah.
To end this, I have a rapid fire questions because you love this particular field so much.
Okay.
You're up for it?
Yeah.
Okay, Kumar. Ready?
Yeah.
One underrated food for your gut health.
Kanji.
Kanji. What about other countries?
Traditional fermented food that their grandmothers would have told them that nobody's following right now.
So the fermented food like kanji, this
Yes.
works. Amazing. Biggest myth about probiotics?
That all probiotics are always good.
Nice. One daily habit that harms your gut health?
Eating the same food over and over again.
Not enough diverse.
Yes.
Next. One habit that improves it?
Interacting with nature as much as possible. Run in Lal Bagh rather than on a treadmill.
Okay. One resource, a book, paper, or idea that shaped your thinking?
In the microbiome space, The Gut by Julia Enders, I think her last name was.
Okay.
So here. Okay.
And that yellow book in the podcast, is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're at the end of closing of this podcast. Thank you so much for your insights, and it's been an amazing conversation with having with you. And I hope the audience got enough information for their improving their lifestyle and how microbes and microorganisms inside your body helps your daily life. And I hope you had a good takeaway from this particular podcast. Thank you so much, Kumar, for joining.
Thank you, Abhishek. It was fun having a conversation with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.